Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And we're back with another excellent edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host. As always, we like to come to you at this time.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
So, what do we have? Oh, we do have something going on there. It's just quiet. What do we have going on today? Well, we were down a little bit more, maybe 15, 20 points. We're just off about 6 points on the S&P cash now. And again, kind of a market kind of waiting to see what happens into next week. And of course, news kind of blowing the market up and down a bit. But I don't think that there's really any signal. There certainly is a lot of noise. The Dow's down 40, the Nasdaq's off 46. This is probably a lot more like August was, in that we're beating out some lows, and I think those lows will be beating out until Monday or Tuesday. We'll see how the market comes in, but I generally have a fairly good indicator. In fact, I sent out a update to my subscribers on what I was looking for. It'll be a few days out, but we'll see how the data comes in tonight. But I suspect we're going to see a couple of days, and then we're going to, stocks probably going to start up some on Monday, and I think the rest will follow through next week. So we'll see how this all goes. But I would really say that I would worry about looking at the TV too much right now. We're going to probably find out that in a week, this news cycle of this week is all forgotten. We'll move on to some other issue that the media will come by and decide that we need to focus on so that we watch their shows. It used to be you just watch the news. Now there has to be some form of outrage or plane crash or something because, I think I was talking with Tom with it last week, that one guy on a show that probably takes $1,000 produce has more people watching him every week than the Super Bowl gets viewers. So you've got all the teams, you've got all the stadiums, you've got all. Just think of the massive amount of infrastructure that you've got to have, and on a daily, maybe on the season, maybe overall, it's not a bad deal, but broadcast television is more the tail these days. It's not the dog getting wagged by the tail. All right, it is the dog being wagged by the tail. There's just, I think a lot of people are still living 10 years ago where streaming didn't really drive the marketplace, but from sites like Hulu and Disney this fall and Apple, it just isn't much to do anymore. And they'll yell and they'll scream and they'll beat their drums, but it's all for naught. Viewership continues to drop along almost all of the cable infotainment stations. And they're just going to try to inflame everybody's passions for the faint hope that they watch what they do. You're probably better off reading the newspaper, I would imagine. And even then. But as far as a trader, news pretty much toxic these days. Can really mess up what you think is going to happen in the market. Yes, does it have a short-term implication? Yes, but almost all of it seems to fade fairly quickly. It's the overall economy that drives even the midterm and long-term outlook of the market. This week we had Nike, and there were a ton of people saying everybody how it was going to go and just blow up on earnings. It was vastly overpriced. If you would have listened to the media on Nike, you would have lost. But, anytime anybody's telling you anything so emphatically that they believe that there isn't any chance that they could be wrong, you have to kind of stop and pause and reflect that maybe they're wrong. There's a great study. In fact, I was talking to somebody earlier in the day about this study, and it was a study about newsletter writers for the stock market. And it basically came down to the fact that you could have somebody that was continually wrong, but always acted like they were right. And a lot of people were much more willing to take a trade based on not how good the track record of that market timer was, but that they were emphatic about it was a can't lose trade. Maybe that's why we see so many people buying or betting on sports teams, and you hear that it's a lock. Well, nothing's a lock. They wouldn't bother even playing the game or running the race if there was a lock before the gun went off or the flag dropped. We got to run the race. It's there for a reason. A poll is not the end of the race in politics. The flag dropping is not the winner's circle. And I always loved what they would tell us before I went racing, which is you can't win a race unless you can't finish first if you don't finish. And that was kind of a warning that it doesn't make a lot of sense to go out there and crash on the first lap. You got a lot of time out there before you go by the finish line. And again, if you don't finish the race, you're not going to even see the flag, much less be the first one to cross it. So just be kind of sanguine about what's going on. We'll get a signal soon enough. We'll get out of this trading range. Even if it takes a while, you're better off making and waiting for a good signal instead of wildly gamble your money away in the market. And a lot of times there isn't a clear signal and you start pushing for trades, and generally that's where you start losing money. Anyway, we're off 4 on the S&P cash. Maybe there was some more news that came out at 2 that I am unaware of. Thursday, can't think of anything. But quiet day. Normally we like to look at the volumes in this first segment. So when we go to that, volume's about 3.5 billion shares, so pretty quiet for a Thursday. Dollar index, when we go check that out, it's 98.78, he said, which is up about 12 cents. So we're still in this kind of upper trading range, but my guess is we're going to be building cause to go up there and tag at least 100. And I think we're going to get a very big signal on the dollar then. And remember, when I started this show, I think the dollar index was 130. So there's a lot of range in that dollar. We'll be back in a minute. We'll start looking at charts and some other stuff.
If you're not currently using the TAS Profile Scanner when looking at setting up your trading opportunities, then your arsenal is short a mighty weapon. The TAS Profile Scanner is a standalone piece of software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Headed by Steve Dahl, TAS understands that in today's technological world, the use of top-flight software applications and technical analysis expertise is essential to successful trading in today's market. You also gain access to the webinar that Steve Dahl and Tom O'Brien just hosted, The Best Way to Use the TAS Profile Scanner to Profit. This webinar archive is available for all subscribers immediately upon signing up. All new subscriptions also come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Start your subscription by visiting the front page of TFNN.com today, and you'll find the TAS Profile Scanner under the Services tab. Sign up today. Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
TFNN has launched our brand new website. You can still visit us at the same TFNN.com URL, but when you do, you'll see a new and improved homepage with a much simpler navigation, whether you're watching Tiger TV live in high definition or just accessing your newsletter subscriptions. We even have new pricing in 6 months and yearly options. Check out the new TFNN.com now and experience all the upgrades. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
And it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
And it's always just a little bit of history repeating. On this day in 1973, supersonic aircraft Concorde makes its first nonstop Atlantic crossing and sets a new speed record in the process, flying from Washington, D.C. to Paris, France in 3 hours, 32 minutes at an average speed of 954 miles per hour. The Concorde cut the old speed record in half. We know that the SR-71 made that in an hour and 35 minutes. So yeah, cruising at 2,500 miles an hour made it pretty, once it got up there, made it a pretty short time of it. But a lot of work, especially in the western half of the United States, on SSTs coming back again. Kind of hard to think that we've been without one for 10 or 15 years already, much less that this was the only SST to ever find a place. Of course, new jet engine technology in the FY-22 means that you can go supersonic without having afterburners. Afterburners are nothing but a giant fire hose that shoots fuel into the tailpipe. Not very efficient. The new engines on that FY-22 that have been around for 15 years now or longer can do what is known as super cruise. They're looking at that kind of technology with new kinds of both metals and composites. There's one that should fly maybe the end of this year, maybe the next first part of next year from Colorado. That's like a 2 or 3 person SST for testing what would be an upscaled version of that. If you go to the Air and Space Museum, there's a version of the SST that Boeing was working on, and of course we've got the old SSTs, I think, at the same place now. I haven't been back since I think that they put those in. But kind of interesting that we've gone to the moon and not gone back. That we've had supersonic transports and that it hasn't come back. I'm just glad I got 2 rides without having to pay for them on the Concorde myself. And a very interesting trip. Probably the weirdest part that most people don't know is that they were so interested in cutting costs and weight in the plane that it didn't even have a bulkhead. You could look at the back of the pilot's head, which I thought was always fairly interesting. But on this day in 1973, we kind of put the pedal to the metal, but haven't decided to go back since. A little disheartening there. Okay, what else is going on? I love the Mach meter. And of course, the best story ever told about the SR-71 is out in Las Vegas Center. I think it was Las Vegas Center, where the small private airplane calls up air traffic control and says, "Hey, can you give me a speed across the ground?" If Mr. Air Traffic Control guy at the air traffic control says, "Well, I'm showing you 155 knots across the ground," then a airplane, like a regular airliner, decides that he's going to upstart the small plane below him, calls up and says, "This is whatever, Boeing, 737. Can you give me my ground speed along the ground?" And he says, "That's 535 knots." Then, of course, not to be outdone, an F-16 above him actually calls in and says, "Air traffic control, can you give me my airspeed?" He says, "I see you at like 655 knots across the ground." And everybody thinks, okay, the military checked in, that's it. And about a minute goes by, and then someone says, "Air traffic control, this is," I think the call sign was Orion. Orion 12, can you give me my ground speed across the ground? And the air traffic controller comes back and goes, "Yes, 2,759 miles per hour." Or knots, 2,750 knots. And of course, it was an SR-71 going across the country. But that's one of the best stories from an SR-71 pilot ever, because it was his backseat guy that just couldn't keep his fingers off the transmit button to one-up everybody else, but always in it. Colorado company called Boom. Not a lot of confidence. That's interesting. Anyway, there's 4 other companies that are getting into SSTs, and that's fairly interesting to me anyway. In the news, I had a couple ask me what's going on with this CrowdStrike, because it is part of the political news out here, and it's been kind of a one-way trip. I'm trying to remember the name of the company that got involved with selling data and Facebook. The name escapes me now, but it all blew up in a matter of days or weeks and a month. The thing was closed. I'll think of the name. Maybe somebody in the den will tell me. Company kind of in a similar problem, and this one is a company with deep ties to the Russians and Ukrainians about some of the news in the headlines this week. But this is CrowdStrike. It was $108.88 on August 20th. We're printing $57.66. And the problem, as I talked to, I'm going to say, Tom, 2 weeks ago, we talked about how many of these private virtual networks were actually owned by Russians or Chinese or anybody else that would probably more than likely do wrong to you than actually do it. And I said the only company you should have is one from Switzerland. Even here in the U.S., it's probably problematic about what data everybody sees or what doesn't. CrowdStrike, kind of a same issue. Everybody, or at least the winds of war, even if political, swirl around this company. And of course, these were the folks that were asked to find out who hacked what in the last election cycle. But there may be some bones buried out there in the under the front porch, if you know what I mean. So watch this one very carefully. It's not a lot of volume today, but we're already talking about being down over 43%? Yeah, 43% off the high. And there's nothing like everybody wanting to get in your business and half the people yelling, hey, and the other people saying we should burn them as witches to make your company go straight down the tubes. So keep a close eye on that one, CRWD. But computer security and after the fact, post-mortem, CRWD, but close ties to those Ruskies. And you don't want that these days. We'll be back in a minute.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get them, folks.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABCs, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And what else do we have on here? We're going to go back to the market. Already in progress. Looks like we kind of stalled out here. Let me update that. Yeah, down 3 on the S&P cash. Still no real sign, but kind of a lot more like August, where we ended up breaking, not breaking, but beating out a low as we went into fall. Let's see. Let's go back here and look at this again. But you had a low, you retested the low in the New York Stock Exchange, and then you came back and did it a third time, each time with lighter volume. first low came in with 4.5 billion shares on August 5th. You came out to August 15th and did it with 4 billion shares, then 3.9 billion shares on the 23rd. So we're kind of doing that action. We're going up, bounce, bounce. And as long as you continue to do that with lighter volume, it's bullish. If you get down there and it does it with more volume, then the chance, of course, that it can break that out. But generally, that's a fairly decent pattern. And if you get the right stocks in that, not the indexes, but the right stocks, they'll start, the strong ones will start climbing out of those lows generally first before the actual rest of the market. What else did we have? I have been in cash. Okay. What else do we have here? NASDAQ's off 38. Just looking at that real quick. Let's go ahead and look at some of the other stuff out here. Microsoft, pretty interesting stuff coming from them. Again, next week they have their dog and pony. I would not want to be short going into that. I believe it's next Tuesday. Is that going to be, or Wednesday? It's next Tuesday or Wednesday. I think it's next Wednesday. I'll check on that and try to bring it up tomorrow's show. But generally, the CEO does not show up unless they have some kind of ground-breaking new product, if it's just a slight warm-over of last year's product. So they're looking at a couple of new things. But certainly don't want to be probably short Microsoft next Wednesday, Tuesday, maybe even Monday out there, because they are going to be announcing some new stuff. And, well, since the new CEO took over from Ballmer, I got to say that they have a fairly good track record. The other part of that is all the neat products are from Microsoft in the hardware space, which I think that's what this is some hardware announcements, have been by this guy named Pan Palloy. I think that's it. I'll have to go back and look it back up. But he has, since he took over the first failed versions of the Surface tablets, he's hit home run after home run with new products. I know there's a guy in the den that really loves the Microsoft stuff and has a lot of the actual Microsoft hardware. But pretty interesting stuff. Anyway, don't be short early next week. And of course, could almost hold up the entire NASDAQ by itself if it's good news. You did have a test on lighter volume of the high, but you haven't backed away from it. And of course, that's always problematic and the least. Trying to find out with where are we at here? Here we go. Wanted to find out what earnings are for this. Okay, October 23rd. I mean, I have a real hard problem believing that the market's going to pull back unless we get some kind of over-the-bow news like shooting in the Gulf or something. I think this is probably the low for the rest of the year in the next few days, and that we get ready to rally the rest of the year. But anyway, October 23rd for Microsoft. And in fact, I didn't even get to it. Monday, there's anything after the bell? I don't think so. Wednesday, you got Lennar. We did have KBH today, and I forgot to get to that. Let's go take a look at that. A little gap higher. A lot of people were also, and me too, wondering whether or not you'd see the failure. You didn't, you've had some fairly decent range in this. You've got absolutely nothing that says that you would want to be short this yet. It's been over the trend line, though, since the 4th of September. This is a long time to go without any kind of pullback. I don't tend to anticipate these, but look for those double repo patterns at the highs. Trying to remember what else. Something's escaping me at the moment, but I won't worry about it. Okay, go back out here. Gold contract up $3.75 at 15.16. Anything else? And just kind of bouncing around in it. Nothing really to write home about. Of course, tomorrow the real question for me is, what does everybody go into? Do they go into gold, or they look for oil for the safe harbor for the weekend? I think that's going to tell you a great deal now that gold's pulled back, if it's still the go-to commodity to park your cash in over the weekend for any kind of untoward news. But we shall see. I imagine we're going to get the Baker Hughes numbers tomorrow at 2 o'clock. I've been at least not bearish on oil, and most of the time fairly bullish. I think we talked about that right before the drone attack on the Saudis on that Friday. The numbers continue to be extremely bullish for West Texas, with the continuation of so many oil rigs decreasing every week. Eventually, it will have the desired effect, which is put the price up. That being said, I filled up today for $2.25 a gallon. So certainly it's not a huge issue with price at the gas pump, at least down here in Florida. I know a lot of people pay more around the country. Yes, I still got somebody emailing me here. Let me go back here. Yes, I still think 46 bucks on Micron. It's off a little bit, but not really bad. But it is on this downslope. As long as this thing remains under and closes under the 3x3 displaced moving average, generally that's a fairly good trend. You did hit that gap higher that had 33 million shares on the 5th of September with 25 million shares, 24. But I suspect if you can see it, in fact, I'll zoom in here, you've got two gaps right around this 47, 50 to 48 bucks. And at a minimum, I would never touch this stock unless it tested at least halfway through both of those gaps. That sets up at 47.50. You also have a much bigger gap right underneath it. And I think that you could get easily sucked back into the $46 range and maybe as low as 43.50. Volume, though, not that good. But I'd want not only this 47.50 to be filled, but that 46 to be filled. And that may be a great place to get back at this again. Be back in a minute.
If you're in the CD market and looking for a secure investment, the Tiger First Mortgage Program may work for you. The security for these first mortgages are building lots in the Tax Opportunity Zone in St. Petersburg, Florida. The Tax Act of 2018 set up tax-free zones across the country where you can build and hold for 10 years and pay no tax on the profits, which makes these lots valuable. The investment is anywhere from $30,000 to $75,000. The interest paid is 7% yearly, paid on a monthly basis. According to Bankrate.com, the best rate for a 4-year CD in the country as of February 20th is 3.1%. A $50,000 investment at a normal 4-year CD rate of 3.1% would give you income of $1,550 per year or $6,200 over the 4-year period. That same $50,000 investment in the Tiger First Mortgage Program would give you $3,500 per year or $14,000 over the 4 years. Which would you prefer, $6,200 or $14,000 of interest on your investment? If you would like more information about the Tiger First Mortgage Program, you can call me at 877-518-9190. That's 877-518-9190.
If you haven't checked out the newsletters page of TFNN.com, what are you waiting for? All of the TFNN newsletters are informative, up-to-date, affordable, and a must-have for every trader looking to gain a competitive informational edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets to offer you the very latest in market news. Plus, new subscribers get to test drive our newsletters risk-free for 30 days. From all aspects of the markets, including stocks, bonds, metals, commodities, and tech, there's a newsletter to fit your needs exclusively from TFNN. Stay informed each day you trade and get that competitive edge that will help you stay ahead of the game. Visit our newsletters page by going to TFNN.com and click the newsletters button near the top of the page. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Are China A shares hot or not? If you trade China A shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A Share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Peloton Interactive PTON. I don't have a chart for it yet since it's brand new today. On the IPO is already down 12%. This IPO, man, were they pushing the living daylights out of it. It was a fairly narrow sliver-like IPO. I wondered how long the market would hold up after it went out. And of course, it went up. I mean, the market went down slightly after it came out. But man, again, very tough for me to figure out the kind of valuation that this company was pushing out. This is the company that makes exercise equipment that shows you nice pictures of riding around the countryside while you're inside on your bike, and some other stuff. But you know what? I don't see the giant moat around a company that just makes exercise. You may make the best exercise equipment in the world. Question is whether or not you can keep other companies from doing the exact same thing, and the Chinese from ripping you off, and all the other things that go into a company like that. But I just don't see, again, the moat that keeps other people out, keeps margins high. That's one of the things that people love about technology for the most part, is that there is something that keeps everybody out. I just didn't see it. And why it had a fairly low valuation as they were starting to talk about this going IPO a year ago, the valuation has gotten up, I don't know, it was $1.5 billion or something this morning, but just doesn't seem like anything that could be sustainable to me. And of course, always a problem when everybody gets bitten by these things where they push them out at too high a valuation. But not a good thing when the market maker or the underwriters can't keep the stock up on the first day. So look at this like a lot of the others. In fact, let's take a look at URBN, no, it's Urban, UBER actually. Uber. Still not coming off the lows really to speak of. You got a doji on no volume today. Let's take a look at Lyft, LYFT. Of course, these guys are now running into bigger issues for the big cities where the drivers just kind of drive around because it's cheaper than parking in New York City, Manhattan, that kind of stuff. And of course, no one in the global warming part loves it, you driving around. Even if it's an electric car, they don't like you driving it around because it adds to the congestion. They didn't mind it when cabs were just driving around, but you know, you get a lot of cash. Suddenly, you're a big target for a lot of people that doing that. Okay, I will answer that in the next. Well, this is the segment. So can I actually say, maybe it's in here, maybe it's not. I'll find it here. Yep, I actually got it. Thank you, Ron. Ron, oh, what do we got? Okay, we got a question on Apple too. Anyway, Ron gives me kudos and says that I can play this.
I informed you thusly.
And yes, I did catch South Park last night. And as I've said many times before, I didn't understand the whole idea of a lot of these marijuana grower stocks when you could legally grow your own stuff in your backyard. And guess what? That's been an issue for a while, for at least the last 6 months. MedMen, which is a company that represents at least the supply side of the weed business, has been running around telling everybody all the dangers of people of growing marijuana at their home so that they could have other people grow it and, of course, sell it. And that was the kind of one of the issues that they brought up in South Park last night. Yeah, I told you thusly. I didn't understand the wild valuations when you could actually grow this stuff for a pittance compared to what they're charging you. I think most states can give you can have 10 plants. And I think that's enough for everybody. I don't consume, so I wouldn't know how much actually comes off a plant. But I think 10 plants look like a lot. Look like a lot to me. Maybe we can have some real maybe we get Cheech and Chong to call in before the end of the show and tell me whether 10 plants is there a lot or not, but that would be it. Cambridge Analytica, yes, thank you, Mr. Z. That is the company I was thinking about earlier that blew up, getting their business in politics. What else do we have out here? Oh, I want to look at a handful of other stuff. Let's go back to that. To 2K. Let's take a look at some of the movers in the S&P cash. Percentage change. Okay. Oh, we got to play the loser horn twice. On the downside is Carnival Cruise Line. They're off 8.5%, going to say hello to their little friends back down here on August 28th at 42.42. Got to 43.60 today with almost 10 million shares already compared to that 2.4 million share low back at the end of August. So looking fairly adept at finding at least the old low. And it's not uncommon to see these companies, they are, the cruise companies, quite secular, can't even say it, secular, about being weak in late summer all the way through Christmas. And as soon as that horrible weather comes back, that's another thing. We've got the Apple question. Maybe I can get it here and done. Dave, I've been looking at Apple. Let's bring that up, even if we have to get into the next segment. And doing fairly well up until this week. I bought 220 calls expiring tomorrow, and the market seems stuck on this range. The stock was at 221 when I bought them. Any thoughts about this trading range? I'm trying to decide whether or not just pull the plug on trade, take my loss today rather than see it break down tomorrow or even break worse tomorrow. One of the things I'd want to first do is look and see what the options actually look like. I don't know if you're in the den or not, or if you'll have to wait for the, oh, I didn't want that at all. Okay, let's get back to this. AAPL, draw the options curve. Okay, here's what I want you to look at, and this is why I'm not either short or long in the market, and that is that the market makers are extremely wide about what they see in the market. This doesn't look a whole lot different for a lot of other stocks. When we come back, I think, can I do that? Yeah, when we come back, we'll talk about this a little bit more, but I'd like to have some kind of edge in the market. Generally, when we have what this chart looks like right now, I know I don't have much of an edge. We'll talk about why when we come back.
I'm certain you are or strive to be one of the best at everything you do in life. It's the most common trait that we tigers and tigresses share. If you're looking to become the best of the best when it comes to managing your money, let me teach you to do what most wealth managers tell you can't be done, which is how to time the markets. I'm Steve Rhodes, author of Mastering Probability, and for the last 12 months, Timer Digest has been tracking my newsletter signals, which have earned me the ranking as their #1 market timer in the nation for the S&P 500 for the last 12, 6, and 3 months. Timer Digest also ranks me as the #1 market timer for gold as well. The fact is, markets can be timed, and I'll teach you the exact set of tools that I use that has transformed me into one of the best at what I do. Sign up for Mastering Probability today by clicking on the newsletter tab on the homepage of TFNN.com and get immediate access to workshops where I take you step by step how to use an extraordinary set of tools as well as provide great market calls too. Sign up today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today. Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And we're back. Anyway, I was looking at Apple here, and the problem... well, you'll have to expand on that, John from Philadelphia. I can't remember what we've got going. Anyway, this is what Apple looks like, which is, for the most part, no one has a clue in the investment space. They think it could go up as high as 230 and down as low as 180, maybe 170. That basically means that they're totally risk off in the options market on Apple. Bit higher and a whole lot lower, but even a whole lot lower isn't that big a risk for them, maybe $5 to $10 million down from where the price is now. At that point, most of the time, the stocks do nothing when there's a wide range. But what that is telling you is that they think there's a little bit higher or a whole lot lower. And one of the reasons why I am out of the market at the moment, I don't see a clear and abiding belief in any higher or lower, but I do think that we are beating out lows in the market and can find a low, maybe especially into fund buying starting on Monday. I don't think I'd want to be short come Monday, but we'll see what tomorrow brings. I would love to see the markets pull back on light volume into Friday, come into fund buying, have a lot of people short, in thin markets and then see the market start heading up from there. That is one scenario. The other scenario is that everybody starts shooting again in the Gulf, and we see kind of a drop on Monday. So I don't see a lot of reasons of trying to get out in front of the market until next week. I think come Monday morning, it's going to be a lot clearer about what we're doing. And of course, you don't need to be in the market all the time, just when it counts. In the meantime, sell when you can, not when you have to. And we'll see you here tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time.